All right, good morning, everybody. How we doing? How we feeling? It is officially hump day. Got some interesting things going on in the market this morning. And let me get right. I know I was forgetting something. Got to do my sound check. When my body knows emotions to go through, I forgot to have this open. All right, sound check is good. Good morning, Vincent. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Check out this pre-market insight. So on our calendar today, which is somewhat significant, we'll check that out in a couple of seconds. 8:30 we got the core CPI. We had the core CPI, and at 10:30 we have crude oil inventories. Tomorrow we have initial jobless claims, and then Friday nothing. All right, so let's look at our power range report. For the NQ today, our power range, we got a high of 1546 and a quarter with a low of 1534 and a quarter. The sentiment was neutral. It was down 0.10% with a volume of 54K and the ATR of 164.05. However, that is significantly changed. You see at 8:30 on that core CPI event, we had a ton of volume that came into the market. Actually, we can see it better here. We can see we had a spike of volume which drove price up. We traced about 50% of that move at 8:30, or that that kicked off at 8:30. But we are finding support, starting to create some pivots. And this would be the euro. So let me get to the right one now. Right, here we go. All right, this is NQ. I knew that. Where's my power range? All right, so same thing. 8:30, tons of volume. Retested this high that was created, this resistance that was created, and then broken. Now we're retesting it. So we are finding higher highs and higher lows. Well, you kind of look at this as a high and then this. So definitely bullish from that spike of volatility. We'll see if we can continue with that and get some follow through. But as we can see from me having the euro currencies up first, in terms of our futures market pulse, we got the same action pretty much across the board. So this is ES, RTY, YM. So definitely bullish with those three. We also got a kind of a spike in volatility at 8:30 with CL. Of course, it's a different story over there. It's trading more so bearish in the bear zone. And also, we got to keep in mind that we have the 10:30 crude oil inventories. So I would expect CL to come down a bit from what it has done overnight. Of course, its overnight action is also, typical leading up to its inventories stuff. And then GC, another spike at 8:30. And then of course we already saw 6E, which is trading similar to GC. So very interesting this morning. We'll see how things open up as we, get to the bell. That resistance, or that what we're seeing, this reaction, is also happening around our balance level. Not perfectly, of course, not to the tick. Let's see exactly what number that is. Okay, 93 and 3/4. I think we saw this balance level yesterday also. I know I've seen it a lot. So that is where we are. Appreciate that, Vincent. The expert analysis from the group. explaining the origin, explaining the price action like none other. Definitely a testament of a lot of hard work and dedication. You can definitely see it. I'm gonna go ahead and go through my routine. Make sure I got everything checked off. Remind myself the only goal is to trade the strategy to perfection. Always be seeing the big picture. Pull the trigger as designed by the plan and the strategy. Make sure sim is off. Definitely want to trade completely in sim in this market. I am getting myself, just keeping the habit of trading in multiple accounts, so it becomes second nature. That's the overall goal. I'm trading them both. I'm not trading them the same, exactly the same. It's the same analysis and everything, but the technique is slightly different between both accounts. So I gotta practice that and build that habit. And we still got 8 minutes to the bell. Tell momentum is slow. Of course, it slowed up a little bit, but still more so, or more than it was before we got that increase in volatility. So we got volume structure which is in line with price structure at 83 and a quarter. Also our power range low. That volatility, the 830 volatility makes the power range look much smaller than it looked when from the price action that created it. Also got a VWAP down there as of right now at the PR high. Let's see, we also got some more structure and volume in the 14 range, as well as the 15, 7.5 range. So, of course, my primary focus is the support that was created in this 84 range. And session highs. I think it goes without saying my bias is bullish this morning. We also got some structure to be aware of at 63, in the 63 range. Still got 5 minutes. idea I need to take note of, use for the future. I'm excited to see how this opens up. Seems like time is, the open can't come quick enough. I'm gonna go ahead and get my pre-market screenshot. Get some tunes in my ear. Alright, coming down to our final minute before the bell. Did I paste that in there? Price action at the open has definitely been interesting the last few days. I would expect to see some bulls trying to break into new session highs. Of course, it can go in either direction. I would love a retest near 80. There we go, we're open. Got a response at our balance level at 93 and 3/4. Another response at that range that I mentioned earlier. They kind of front ran it a little bit by a few ticks or a couple points. Not as much energy in this first minute as I would expect. This first 3 minutes, our first minute has already passed. We're kind of in this battle zone. Something I just realized, I'm looking at the wrong power range information on this chart. The one that I'm looking at, the one you see. My computer restarted overnight, so let me go ahead and fix that. I'm looking at the wrong colors. I don't know how that happened because I saved it last night. There we go, that's better. Let me go ahead and play this one kind of tight because we want this to work immediately. Yesterday I kind of mixed it up a little bit. My first target hit. I'm just going to play this to the next balance level. Adjust my targets to the next balance level. Break even has already been triggered. Looks like we got some momentum, or some momentum coming in here. Late screenshot. Struggling to fly this plane. I'm gonna get it back on track. All right, so there's our break into new session highs. Let's see if we can follow through. It's looking strong so far. Got the response that I wanted. So they're keeping this thing mechanical, not necessarily strict to my levels, but to other indicators in the market. All right, on the chart, I should say. So we are continuing somewhat with the price action that we've seen so far this week, where we're not getting a lot of follow through on breakouts. Are we getting heavy pushback after a breakout? Usually after the initial breakout, and then it may break again later on. So we saw our sellers piling there. We are pretty extended, of course, from that 830 run up. That was saw a response there at PR plus 6, and that printed to where we should see some more selling. We'll see how on this 3 minute. It's a nice little the momentum that came in right there at within that last few seconds, and the way that that printed with this candlestick pair. Should see some follow through short. Doesn't, of course we don't know where it's going to go, but let's see how this plays out. Nice little quick scalp for me. Of course, I was multitasking so much I forgot about what I'm supposed to be doing over here. It's the challenges of trying to stream and trade at the same time. So the next level I'm looking at is PR plus 3 or PR plus 2. Well, we got this volume structure here. Pretty much 63 range. We do have a volume piling in here at 75. Where we also have a structure pivot that was created at 836-ish, 839. Decent amount of volume within these first 10 minutes. So pretty much so far they've extended our value area. By about 7 points. So I'm going to be watching this low of that previous candle to see if we get a response there, or if we break it, if it makes it back there. Right now they're holding this support at 75.5. Giving us a small range on a 1 minute time frame. Buyer coming in here, pushing the price higher. See how they can take us. Getting a response at the balance level. And seller stepping right back in there. We traded right back to the balance level to a tick, and that's where they loaded up and brought price back to the low that I was watching from that previous 3-minute candle. We do have buyers still in this market. I can see that from the price action, and we haven't changed that much with the delta. Volume is increasing at a rate that I would expect from this time frame in the market, this time period. I don't have any signals as of yet. Getting a response at the next level that I was watching. Starting to see our sellers really pile in here as our volume increases. We do still have buyers in this 63 range, and I'm calling a range. Basically right here at our PR plus 2. So I just kind of pretty much just took looking at the volume profile, and my levels, giving me a range between that PR plus 2 and kind of just tapers off until we get into the VWAP. When we see buyers buying just start to make attempts to push price higher within that price range. Not seeing a good reflection of that. Oh, well, now here we go. So now it's starting to, our delta is starting to flip at positive. Well, not positive, but all the delta that I saw come in before that being taken out. I still don't have a trigger, or a signal. Making a push to VWAP. There's another mechanical test to see how mechanical they want to move this price around. So they're really dumping this. They got some bulls trapped up here on that attempt to break higher. Also, we saw buyers step in as they brought price back, and so they're really applying the pressure to our buyers. Only briefly hung around the VWAP. this just to get practice in. I will start loading in. Alright, response off the PR high. And I said actually could start loading in off the VWAP. So they gave us about almost 10 points off VWAP, and now they're bringing it back above. Just a quick little retest from where our buyer stepped in. You know, around PR plus 2. Getting this back and forth price action has been sort of, you know, difficult to trade this week. For me anyway. But all I have to worry about doing is being patient and waiting for my signals, waiting for my triggers. They painted the picture to where we can see a rollover on the 1 minute. So all that buying was able to do at that point so far was give us a retest on previous support. So now buyers are stepping back in there around VWAP off of PR plus 1. Making an attempt to break that flag pattern on the 1 minute. Right there, there's the break attempt. Looking for follow through. Looking to see, because it's not, didn't really have a signal there. It's kind of noisy in this area here, so it's better for me to just be patient and wait for a cleaner setup, which it's possible that I may not get another one within my trade window the way that this is playing out. Seeing a lot of support and resistance in both directions. A lot of areas where price can be held up in both directions. So personally, I don't want to trade in all of that. Looks like they're giving us a channel. Which is called the 76. For the high of that channel. But the way that they painted that on the 1 minute, we could be heading higher. Looking for the break above 76 or 77. Catching some resistance from sellers right there. we do have good volume. We're getting it from both sides of the market, and we're just kind of chopping around, not really giving us any big moves to take advantage of. Again, this is great price action for scalping. Of course, with a solid plan, not just reckless scalping. Your strategy needs to be built for scalping, taking advantage of decent, of course it's going to be relative, but good size, a good sizable position. And a solid risk management plan. You either want to do two things. You want to cut them loss really quickly, or have a high percentage win rate to where you can give your plays room to breathe. We're still getting a response off this VWAP. Let's see if they can push us above our first location, 73, or if our sellers can push us back lower. And as I'm watching this, I'm just getting an idea of a strategy to play off these levels with responsive entries, and then using the price action to manage the risk. My decent little scalping strategy. I'm not going to put it into action, just exercising that muscle. Alright, so our seller stepped in there at that first level that I mentioned. And now they're giving us a push back down to PR plus 1. Should have saw follow through there, but our buyers stepped right in at the level where they closed off that 1 minute and the 3 minute candlestick. So we definitely can't call this momentum. And since we are trading, the overall trend is bullish. Anything short really wouldn't be momentum anyway. Especially with the way this is trading, unless our sellers eventually wear out the buyers and really put sides in to take prices lower quickly. I'm feeling this one. almost messed up. So I'm gonna keep the vibe right there. Alright, so they're still holding us within this channel. Oh, that's previous last 2 minutes that confirms the channel. Let's see if we make it back to the highs. At our PR plus 3 level. Looking to see if we get a response there. Let's get in there pretty quickly. Giving us a nice almost 30-point floor for us to dance around in, for them to move the price around. Accumulating, building a position for the next move. Of course, they can take this in either direction. They painted the picture for a break above or to break outside of this channel. Back into the highs, but our sellers are stepping in right there, so our sellers are not done. Or they're not done selling. Remember, our selling can also come from profit taking from any loans that entered in at the bottom of this channel. Introduce some more buyers into the market. There's the break. Do we get follow through? Or does this create a new high for our channel? So it's looking strong. Got a little bit of resistance to fight through. And right here at 83.5. Of course, if I was long here, I would want to front run that. And if I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm a majority of the participation in this price action, then that could take us back within this channel. We do have buyers stepping in here trying to, take us out of this channel. However, that does give us a higher high, what keeps us in the channel. Let's see if we got VPOC here. I thought I had this marked off, but pretty much it's 70. Alright, so we got some more selling that came in, taking prices lower, heading in the wrong direction if we were a buyer that took the break. So now we either got to decide, do we want to bail, or do we want to start scaling into this position bigger as price trades against us from the perspective of a buyer. From a seller, of course, I'm looking at the low of this channel, and I want to front run that around VWAP. And what would that do? We have some buyers that are looking to add to their position, some buyers that are looking to jump in. We also have some buying from shorts, taking profit, can put us right back into the range as we go to the lows. So far, that looks like what's playing out. There we go, right back inside the channel as we went to the low. So let's see if we get some sellers to jump back in here and give us another push. Which side of the market is going to take us outside of this channel? And I'm looking at this from a 1 minute perspective, but of course we can see this on the 3 minute as well. We look like big time. 30 minute, we are kind of bouncing off of structure from yesterday. But the way that's painted, we definitely don't have momentum in either direction. It's got this back and forth choppy price action that a lot of traders will find frustrating. Unless you got a strategy built around this type of price action, which is definitely possible. We only mention that because we don't want to limit ourselves to other people's ideas. We want to take those ideas in and test them and see how well they work for us. And use our strengths to develop our own strategies and plans. Alright, so looking at this price action, seeing which direction we take, or I'm seeing pressure from both sides. This really tight range. I don't want to speculate too much, just gonna sit here and watch it. Definitely not looking for any new trades at this point. Only got a few minutes towards the end of my window. Don't have time today to overstay my welcome. And I don't want to overtrade anyway, so we broke out. We're starting to make an attempt to break out outside of the channel. Back to our support at PR+1. Buyers are still in here. Like our sellers are throwing sides, even though we're not really getting the reflection of this price action. There we go. All right, as I say that, we see the delta jump, in favor of of sellers. And now we're getting the momentum short. And that triggered me into the sim position to where I'm collecting data mostly. Getting a response off this volume structure, almost to the tick off PR off the power range low. Still looking to see if I get a signal, even though I'm outside of my trade window. I'm not gonna take it. Just again practicing that muscle or exercising that muscle. Now, technically, I could take a long here, and again, I'm not saying to do this. I wouldn't even take this, but I could play this balance level at 41.5, long above 45.5. I would not take that even if I wasn't, outside of my trade window. So usually what we see here, we had this accumulation, let's see, between 942 and we'll just call it 1012 or 1009, where we're collecting inventory and we're taking prices outside of that, where our market makers could be looking for more inventory. Our wholesale could be looking for more inventory. Before we get a bounce higher, that would actually give me a signal to what I mentioned before, inside pair. To see how our buyers respond. And depending on how this plays out, this is telling me for sure I have an idea of what kind of participation we have in this market right now. But that will tell me for sure what program we're running. If we just have wholesale and the market makers, of course our market makers need someone else to play with. They get the orders from the different participants in the market. So the way I'm just looking at this is just as my own perspective. Is this wholesale or do we have additional participation? Of course retail is always there, but I'm talking about the size in the market that actually moves price around. So that does give me what I call a reverse inside pair. I'm just looking for the break above the high of those previous 1 minute candlesticks. Just also keeping in mind that there's a lot to fight through on for both sides. Looks like our sellers definitely want to take this lower. We've almost taken out all of that buying that came in pre-market at the 8:30 core CPI event. So now that gives us another inside pair. So what I want to see is the break, and then what you know, the response to the break, and then that'll end my session. If it takes too long, of course, eventually it should happen here soon. Within the next couple of minutes. Alright, the way that printed, I would expect some buyers to come in. Still got the battle. The battle pursues. Alright, let's see what our sellers do here. Buyers step right back in. We've got our buyers trapped, applying the pressure to the buyers. They don't want to give up. Almost reminds me of a basketball game where right there we saw, you know, the sellers got a quick point, but our buyers came back in, scored, played some tight defense, and now they're trying to gain the momentum, but our sellers are still putting up points. The buyers got some tough defense. It's a lot of defense on both sides. Not much offense. Both sides playing tight defense. Got a lot of turnovers, steals, a lot of blocks. Another inside, we had a lot of inside pairs right there. You know, back to back. They're holding this price within this small range. It's just relative because it's only small because of the 830 volatility. That tick right there moved our VPOC. To 38. So as long as they hold us in this within this range, when it pops, it should pop strong. One side is gonna get exhausted and just completely not have anything to fight back with, depending on, you know, the strategy that the size is using. It's the kind of price action I haven't seen in a while. Not where we hold the price in this small of a range for this much time. You know, within this first hour of the open. All right, our buyers are stepping up on defense. I mean, on offense. Sellers still trying to play some defense. Offense is taking over from the buyers. There we go. It's a big three-pointer. Let's see if our buyers can catch some momentum here. Completely forgot about my data collection position, which is great. Now, from a long perspective, we still do have some resistance to fight through. But going back to stepping away from the basketball analogy and back to the wholesale thing, so we do see it, they just held, they spent a while accumulating. So kind of as of right now, what's playing out. We don't have the full follow through yet, of course. But what could be playing out is we have wholesale that collected up here. Bought price back down a little bit lower to get inventory at lower prices, better value for them, and then still we move it higher. That's just one possible situation out of many. It's a scenario that we've seen play out kind of a lot, but I would expect more energy, if that, with that scenario than what we're getting right now. So, I think it is safe to say that we do have additional participation in this market beyond just that typical wholesale price action, what I call wholesale. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there in my session for today. Hope y'all have a good rest of the day, good rest of the week. Appreciate everybody for coming through the comments and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next one. Trade it easy.